Oh, whoops. Oh, there we are. I wiped my screen off. And live from the mountaintop in the swamp, from UFOs to camel toes, from big chuckles to moose knuckles. You got it locked on the Derek Farmer Network. How's everybody doing tonight? Well, here we are once again out here in the soybean field. Another challenging day, I must admit. Not my best day, not my best space today, you know. Woke up this morning, I was feeling great, gonna go to work, and then I took a big tick off my neck, you know. And we don't do good with the big ticks. So it was a stressful day. But after talking to the county health department, it seems like I'll be fine. So I'm totally cool now. I called the Cass County health and what do you call it? The health department, I guess. And she explained to me that, you know, generally speaking, now this tick that I took off my neck was, you know, pretty big. And she said the deer tick are generally like little pieces of dirt or sand. Like you barely notice them and they don't even get bigger with blood. So I think that's probably why when I did get Lyme disease, I never noticed the tick, just the bullseye wound afterwards, because the tick was so small after the bite. Whatever I took off me today was large. So I just followed her instruction. I got, you know, when I picked it up, I mean, there was nothing left behind. That's the important part. You don't want to leave the head in your skin. And put some alcohol. I got some alcohol on there and some antibiotic ointment. I mean, I tried like hell to get actual antibiotics to make sure I didn't get Lyme disease, but getting healthcare in Indiana is a bit more challenging and costly than in Michigan, honestly. The one place where I could have gotten probably some kind of maybe, I don't know about free help, but billed for an excessive amount of doctor's care for just a couple, exactly 2 antibiotics. You only need to take 2 doxycyclines one time to make sure you don't get Lyme disease in the first 24 hours. But I mean, the walk-in clinic was nearly $200 plus prescription. The ER was overrun with people. There were 30 people hacking, coughing, shitting, and puking in there. And I just turned around and walked out, you know. So then I thought, well, go virtual. Of course, go virtual, you know. And that's no good either. So they want to charge you $80 to send over, you know, through the Walgreens app to send a prescription for 2 fucking antibiotics. I'm not talking a controlled substance here, you know. So with all that being said, I just called our county health department and they pretty well convinced me that I'll be fine. And I feel fine, so we're just going to go with it. I'm tougher than Lyme disease anyways. But I did want to touch on a couple things from the last show. One thing that I said, I couldn't remember what General McCaslin, the missing general, Air Force general out of Bernalillo, New Mexico, said, and that is in those emails with Tom DeLong from To the Stars Academy, the what's called the Podesta email dump. The general did mention to DeLong that this phenomenon, in order to understand, and I'm paraphrasing the general a bit, the missing General McCaslin, but he said in this email, to understand this phenomenon, you need to look at Greek mythology. Now, that's what I couldn't remember the other night, because that's where it goes into the woo-woo. You know, it starts to get a little weird. What do you mean, think about the Greek mythology? Well, as it turns out, that may be wrapped up in part of this whole deal. Like, maybe that wasn't mythology, folks. You know, the giants, the gods from out there, you know, as in time-traveling aliens, whatever they are, Saturn and you know, whatever the gods of those planets were, you know. So I find that highly interesting that General McCaslin would say in an email, to fully understand the phenomenon, in terms of what's flying around in our sky and in our ocean, you must first understand Greek mythology. We're gonna check into that, and I don't think it's the last that we're gonna hear about Prometheus and Zeus and things like this, where we're talking about possibly now an ancient civilization that was advanced pre 12,000 years, antediluvian they call it, antediluvian, pre-Younger Dryas comet event, and comet impacts. So you're talking ancient. And by advanced, again, I don't mean they're driving around on Harleys, but maybe they're flying around on something with 0-point technology. Plenty of stories about flying carpets, flying houses, and flying baskets, basically, if you look at some of even the Japanese stories from a couple thousand years ago. So I think it's all very interesting. Also, that was one thing I wanted to touch on. Something else I couldn't remember, but now I can't remember what I couldn't remember. So yeah, we're brushing up on episode 300 here. I mean, I'm not brushing up against it. This is episode 300. Probably we have no watchers. Maybe someone will pop in and say hi, and that's okay. You know, I mean, I really wasn't even going to go live today, but I find that sometimes when I'm in kind of a rotten mood, that coming on the air and talking to you guys kind of works out some of that stuff psychologically. Sorry. Hope you guys don't mind that. But I do feel a move coming on soon. You know, I'm going to keep working where I'm working. I love my bosses, you know. I love my job and my bosses. But I'm going to be moving out of the mountaintop in the swamp here in another month or so. And I think. I thought I'd be moving in with him, but it turns out he may have other plans. So I also may have other plans. You know, my mom's not getting any younger. I sure am not able to see her as much as I would like to. That's for sure. And I do have an offer to move back to the Kalamazoo area and live with somebody for free until I get on my feet. And part of getting on my feet is a new business model and a new business plan that's already would be in effect where I'd be moving. I don't want to give away too much, but you guys know it'll be pretty exciting. You know, it was either that or I was considering a move, you know, out of state and just somewhere else, like just to do something different, go to a very busy market delivery wise and just knock it out there. But I don't think I'm going to be delivering much longer, honestly, too much. I do have something on the horizon, I hope, that will provide some stability in terms of inexpensive housing or, you know, non-existent costs anyways. And it kind of in trade for taking care of business around a certain place. So it's looking very good. And I'm very excited to maybe move on to a new chapter that way. That doesn't mean I will quit working at Jets. I may have to hybridize that situation a bit and just work open to close a couple days a week and come from Kalamazoo, you know. But whatever I do, I'll give plenty of notice. Of course, you know. Wife Lilith, good. Hey, Wife Lilith, how are you? What is new in your life? What do you want to talk about? What do you know? Come on, bring it on. I dare you. Give me a reason to commentate. I'm feeling bright. I'm feeling fresh. I'm feeling like I don't have Lyme disease. There's no brain fog going on with me. Now, General McCaslin, I'm not so sure. They say he's got brain fog. But I don't know. Like I was watching, you know anything about this General, Wife Lilith? I was mentioning before you got here that it turns out in the Podesta email dump where McCaslin is communicating with Tom DeLonge of To the Stars Academy and leaking UFO information to him, wrapped up in those is a message from Mr. McCaslin himself that said, in order to understand this phenomenon, you need to study first Greek mythology. And I just want to know your thoughts on that. 600 for brakes ain't bad. I'll be honest with you. Nowadays, 600 for brakes ain't bad. You must got yourself a shade tree mechanic because you take it to like a car dealership or one of them places. I mean, they're like $1,600. I mean, things are getting so out of hand expensive, in my opinion, to the point where like just normal folks can't afford simple things like brakes. You know, I mean, who has an extra $600 all the time laying around, right? So yeah, but anyways, this General McCaslin, who is missing out of Bernalillo, New Mexico, along with about 10 other scientists now in his field. I mean, this is he only charged you for the parts, luckily. Yeah, I was gonna say, Jesus, what did you have put on? What did you do, all four? What did you get? What do you got? Pads and rotors all the way around. I guess that would be about $600. I mean, if you only did the front ones, I would think you might have had to put in calipers also, but that would be terrible. That's always an extra expense. So yeah, I mean, the whole idea that this phenomenon, according to General McCaslin, the guy that is now missing after leaking UFO information and saying to Tom DeLonge that you have to look back at Greek mythology if you want to understand the UFOs in the skies today, I think is a telling statement. Oh, also, I did want to touch. I felt like Mr. Steve was on the Drunk Turkey or DT show the other night, and they were discussing this General McCaslin case. And people, and I'm not lumping them into this, but I feel that instead of him going off and committing suicide somewhere where he's never found, that if he was going to go that route, he would have done it in such a way, in my opinion, that would have indicated to law enforcement where his body was at so that his wife and family that he loved could have some closure afterwards, not wondering, and then also not getting benefits. I don't know. I just don't feel that a guy with a little bit of brain fog, I think he was a target for foreign adversaries more than anything. I don't even know if it was UFO, or I'm not saying it was even UFO related. She says, well, here, I can put this up. Wife says, for anybody who does, well, I hate to introduce wife Lilith for anybody but who she is. And that's just somebody from Indiana who likes my show. So that's how we're going to introduce her. I don't see why she has to carry around the baggage of everything from that area. She seems like a pretty great person to me. All 4 brake pads and rotors. I swear I seen a UFO when I was little over Clear Lake. Well, there's probably a million Clear Lakes. I know there is one in Indiana by me somewhere, and up here in Michigan too. But I think a lot of people have. I really do. I mean, even if you forget a lot of things from being a kid, some things will shake your memory later in life, and you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I did see something weird." That just you kind of put it away, I mean, I definitely saw something weird in 1981 driving to Washington, D.C. in the backseat of that Chevette. I saw a gray dot in the sky with no wings, no propellers, just a gray dot. I don't know what it was, but I looked up. I said to my sister next to me, I said, there is a UFO. And she looked over and she's like, whatever, you little weirdo, because she's older than me. Thanks, wife Lilith. So, yeah, well, it's that labor that'll kill you too. It's like $128 an hour, wife Lilith, Good. I'm glad you support. I wish I was running for sheriff. That would be a good thing for me, probably. But so I just think that I really don't feel that this general would commit hara-kiri with being a family man. I don't understand. I mean, I can understand doing it away from the house or something, but I wouldn't understand not leaving a note or some indication about what happened. That seems very selfish if you're married to someone and have a family with them to just disappear without leaving any indication. Now, maybe he left her a note and she didn't mention it or something. I have no idea. Oh, God, Mr. Steve always catches me when I disagree. Of course, Mr. Steve, you always catch me when I might slightly disagree with you. Fair enough, Mr. Steve says, your opinion is as good as anyone, including mine. And we all are speculating. You're right. As we don't know the home secrets and his wishes. You're totally right. It is pure speculation. But I have to wonder. I mean, the mainstream news is picking up now. Okay, let's not forget about the general, but let's just drop the general for a second. Okay, him aside, he had a physical condition that possibly may have influenced some decisions. I can see that. Mr. Steve, I make him fight for every comment. It wasn't good enough that Rome, Georgia had the biggest damn college. I'm Googling. I'm like, wait a minute. Mr. Steve, I love you. But you meant basically square footage. You meant the size of the campus, not little satellite branches spread out all over a country with 1 billion people. So I also double conceded back to you on that one. But you're right. We are speculating. But my point is, and I'm sure someone's looking. I mean, I think the FBI is involved. I just don't want to assume that he did that. I want to give him a fair shake at being found like anybody else, I guess. Like, if everyone just assumes he went off because he wasn't feeling well, because that's what his wife said in a phone call, I could also contend, and they will tell you that in many of these deep secret programs, the family has zero idea because of security concerns and because of more than non-disclosure agreements, but because of national security. They absolutely cannot talk to their spouses or children or neighbors or anyone about what they're doing. And many of them take that stuff to the grave. So yeah, no, I know. I heard that for sure. I absolutely listened to the 911 call. Also, though, you do realize, I mean, about a year ago, somebody else went missing under the almost, and I can't think of his name now. I saw it on another show. Another military person also went missing the same exact way, disappeared, left his phone, left everything, and only took a handgun with him. And there seems to be, what I'm saying, Mr. Steve, is there seems to be the people around this guy and in this field, there seems to be a pattern of them dying of suicide and murder. There really does. Or getting cancer very quickly. And I am one that believes that you can get cancer very quickly if it's given to you. Shay Watson's here. Well, she has made a live, folks. Now, Shay, the only reason I went live was so you could make a live. So I'm glad you're here. I figured the weather was bad enough where everyone's at that maybe they weren't outside today. I mean, it's been a little challenging around here. I am once again in a swamp, and we got a couple inches of rain, and it happened while I was sleeping. So I had a little bit of a fire yesterday. I didn't do a live because I feel bad if I have a fire without you guys now. But I just needed to get rid of some debris around my yard and some stuff. And so I had a fire. And where was I going with that? Oh, but then so I had backed my car up because I got firewood, you know. And I didn't want to hook the firewood a quarter of an acre across the property. So I backed it up close and left it there. And this morning I could see that I was basically behind a little bit of a swamp. I was nervous because we know what happened last time I got stuck in the mud. The tow truck driver broke my rear cross member and then my brake line. So getting stuck today was not an option. I hauled ass for that road and I didn't let anything stop between me and the car getting to that road, those two front tires. I said, I'm going to hit gravel. And I did. And now I am parked right out front by the road because I know better than to pull back here. Hiawatha also is here. I want to say Hiawatha quickly. Hello to Hiawatha. Hello quickly to Unindicted Co-Conspirator who says, woo, instant pot loaded. So it is time for the sides. Lurking and listening. Sounds good, Unindicted. True Crime saying, I have immediate family who served 22 plus years in the military. None of us know his field of work. He had some very interesting locations. Yeah, I bet he did. And look, this doesn't all indicate nuclear or UFO secrets. There are many things wrapped up in national security, you know, both in a supporting role or even supply chain roles. I mean, it doesn't have to be feet on the ground super spy stuff, right? Hey, Josh Posh, how you doing? Good to see you. And Shay saying, hey to Hiawatha, and wife Lila saying hi to Hiawatha. You are popular, Hiawatha, my sister from another mister. But I did want to say and follow up now that I'm wife Lila. I'm sorry you have to hear this again. The reason I brought up the general in the first place was because during the last broadcast, there was something I couldn't remember that he had leaked in that email to Tom DeLonge. And that was when he leaked the Podesta email leak to from General McCaslin to Tom DeLonge said, and I'm paraphrasing, but the gist of it said, in order to understand the phenomenon going on right now in the skies and in the ocean, meaning the UFO UAP phenomenon, you first have to understand Greek mythology. And then that's what got me kind of going on it, because when I was saying it during the last show, this always comes back to the supernatural, the woo-woo, or what appears that way to us. What simply is just an unknown physics to us mere humans, right? So I don't call it magic or woo-woo. I mean, that's just a kind of a title to put on it. But the general said to understand what's going on, you must first understand Greek mythology. And that's interesting because I've been hearing that in a certain way from a lot of people, but not from such an official source as one Air Force general who worked at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and Kirkland Air Force Base. I find that comment highly interesting, and not in terms of where the general is at now. And that's a separate thing. But in terms of what we may be dealing with when it comes to this phenomenon, which generals from the Air Force are having secret leaks with UFO researchers about. Could this be misinformation, bad information? Sure. Anybody who's ever heard of Rick Doty knows that. He worked for the NSA. Who gave all the bad information to the dude that went crazy. They drove him crazy with bad information. And then pipe shit in through like his, in his ears and stuff by pointing things at his house. I can't remember his name. The original owner of was Bob Bigelow for Skinwalker Ranch, but so it turns out then the president probably won't be giving this big disclosure speech on the 8th. The reporter who said it was Bob Bigelow who gave him that information is basically doubling down on it, but Bob Bigelow has denied it now. So he doesn't want any part of this public display of it. And this is what always happens with this subject matter. It gets very close. Also going to bring up again James Lukatsky. Okay, he is, if anybody can catch a recent interview with James Lukatsky, he was the head of OSAP program funded by Senator Harry Reid, that it started a lot of this official government investigation in the modern day. He even said that we have a craft of unknown origins in our possession, and we had it for 4 decades before, and finally we breached the hull of the craft. It took 40 years to breach the hull of the craft and figure out how to get inside of this thing. And it was shaped like a silver egg. This is coming from our government. Now, could this be fake bad information? Of course it could be. Maybe they want us to keep thinking this for some reason. I don't know. But there are a lot of official sources, guys. It's not just Eric Farmer sitting here talking about. I guarantee you that. And it's not like it used to be. Well, of course, we didn't get the 46 videos. We didn't get the Epstein files. That all was supposed to come out yesterday. Why? Because the executive branch is not following the tenets of our Constitution and doing what the legislative branch now has requested from them in terms of these things. And they may have to start subpoenaing people and subpoenaing documents because they have the power to do so. They represent us, the people. That's, the Congress, the House of Representatives and the Senate. But the House, the People's House, and that is where this committee is at with Chairwoman Luna, Chairman Tim Burchett, and Eric Burlington, Chairman Burlington. They are a panel that is assigned to take care of this stuff. And they have requested these videos, and they want to see them. Now, incidentally, a lot of the ones that have been leaked may have been leaked about a year ago on a random show by a specific leaker who actually showed a grid of something from something called, and he said it's deep within the Pentagon. If you want to know where the UFOs are at, they're in the basement of the Pentagon. That doesn't mean the physical craft are there, but the information regarding them is there in a off-site database called Immaculate Constellation. Okay. Immaculate Constellation. And that is where this information comes from regarding these 46 videos. This is what Congress has requested, but this information was leaked over a year ago, actually. So I can't remember the name of the show, but it was it's quite a large show, but he had nothing to do with UFOs. And he went over and basically it showed a grid of different pictures of all the different styles of UFO. There's something called like a cross. It's like a cross in the sky. It literally looks like a blazing cross. They had a picture of this thing. These pictures are 4K high def pictures. They're not sensor reproductions. These are photographs in high def color of craft from our military. These are important. And it's important when our Congress takes this stuff seriously, like they are, and requests this, that they get what they need so they can pass that information on to the people that elect them, us. Hell, we've already gotten disclosure, in my opinion. Think of all that Burchett et al. Have told us they've been told. I know. Tim Burchett the other day says, he asked what his percentage of have aliens visited Earth. He said 100%. Okay, not 99%, not 98.7%, 100%. He has been briefed. He has seen the evidence by people that have touched the craft, and they know where the bodies are at. 100%. But he cannot tell us the details, or they will kill him or put him in prison. That's just the way it is. They've killed a lot of people. The Legacy Control Group has murdered, I think, hundreds of people, including people around the JFK assassination. I think it's all part of the same control group. And I think JFK's assassination now, after looking at everything, had much more to do with this topic matter than anything else. Absolutely. They considered him a threat to their game, which is what? Controlling the petrodollar worldwide, because 0-point technology would be free to everyone. You pull it right out of the air now, right out of the atmosphere. You make it. Tesla knew that. There's proof. Okay. And the ones who discover it and rediscover it now, they end up disappearing. Like I say, it all happens in Huntsville, Alabama. You want to know about anti-gravity propulsion? Look up anything Huntsville, Alabama. That's where it all goes down. And that's where many of these scientists who were missing and murdered either went to college and then moved on to a contractor, or to the military and then moved on to a contractor in this particular field. Not any science field, but propulsion, advanced propulsion field. And that's what the general also was wrapped up in. So it is all a little bit, and look, and it's not just a bunch of nuts talking about it now. I've seen it on News Now, News Nation. They're saying it's now up to 10. News Nation, I just put the article up on the community post page. They are reporting as a national news agency that there are 10 scientists around this subject matter murdered or missing in the last 2 years. And you could even keep going back. Like I said, anybody willing to investigate could just look up one Dr. Ning Lee. Where'd she work? Oh, Huntsville. She's been missing since about 2006. Now, she's dead now, by the way. Apparently didn't make it through COVID. Where she was between 2006 and COVID, we have no idea. She disappeared, only to show up in China. I'm not saying UFOs are coming down and taking these people. I think it's adversaries from foreign countries that are either taking them out or taking them. And of course, Ning Lee was a national from China originally, but she came here to go to college, got a job with a contractor, and then discovered anti-gravity propulsion, which she openly talked about. And then she disappeared forever. Of course, Bob Lazar has been making the rounds. I have not. Anybody watched the new Bob Lazar documentary that Luigi, I can't think of his last name, the guy that directed it, has come out with in the last couple of days? I know it's on Amazon Prime. I know it costs money. Hiawatha, which town? I mean, it's happened in a lot of towns, by the way. I mean, I don't think all these people are lying. I don't think people keep the same story for 50 years only to die and on their deathbed go, I wasn't lying. That was a true story. You know, this really changes people when they have this experience. I mean, Shay, Boston, when you have an up-close experience, right? It's ontologically shocking, and even sometimes epistemologically so, making you wonder about religion and your own belief system. Suddenly, like, we don't have enough problems. The government needs to be honest with the people. There are enough people, basically, in my opinion, suffering with post-traumatic stress from these incidences with unexplained and unknown phenomenon that it needs to be addressed and it needs to come out in the open. I don't care who has to eat shit for it. I don't care who has to go to prison for it. It needs to happen. Hey, Cryptex, how you doing? Good to see you. Cryptex, of course, our frozen friend to the north who is thawing out finally. They can probably still ice skate up there. Hiawatha, UFO shot down. Whole town seen it. Was this recently? I mean, are you talking Operation Dominic, subset Operation Starfish Triple Prime, subset Operation Bluegill Triple Prime? Where they literally put a nuke up into the atmosphere to shoot one down because they knew that they were interested in them. Right? And then anybody talks about it, they go, they're going to find your bones in the desert. You keep talking about that shit. Neuro recovered it. National Underwater Reconnaissance Office. Super secret. Oh, and that was the other thing that I tried to remember. Who was the head of Neuro? Admittedly so, during a press conference, one Admiral Bobby Ray Inman admitted not only to being the NSA director for a while, but also, he goes, and even more secretly, they don't like me talking about this one, the head of the National Underwater Reconnaissance Office. He's also the one that admitted on tape, on the telephone, that we have UFO technology to a guy that then went on the news and reported that shit. That guy got cancer and died. Bob Oshler was his name. Oshler, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, Bobby Ray Inman was involved in all of that shit for a long time. He's been retired a long time, but again, he's still alive. I'm not sure. He's pretty old. They must consider him a threat. Hiawatha saying, Shay, yeah, my whole family extended thought I was crazy all these years. I wonder what they think now. Mom was always a believer. She was a teen in Franklin, Kentucky when the soldier chasing... Oh, I missed the first part. Oh, I got it now, Hiawatha. Let me reread. Let me start over. Yeah, my whole family extended has thought I was crazy all these years. I wonder what they think now. Mom was always a believer. She was a teen in Franklin, Kentucky when the soldier chasing a UFO was shot down. That would be one Mantell. Am I correct on the name there, Mantell? The whole town's seen it. Right. And he even said, I have the object in my sights as he hit about 30,000 feet and it made him pass out and then he lost control and hit the ground. But that would be one, I can't think of his first name, but his last name was, I'm sure, Mantell. A famous case. That was by Fort Knox, right? Wasn't he out of the Fort Knox air base? Mm-hmm. Shay wanting to know who has a Hiawatha. And Mr. Steve saying, Josh the Posh, thank you for your kind contribution. I will use it on my next trip. Oh, that's nice, Josh. That's awesome. Oh, Sensei's here. Good. Sensei, my fearless producer from across the pond. Sensei Wackadoodle, everyone. How you doing? I was just BSing with Sensei a little bit earlier today on the text machine. And I was just commenting that really what I thought the magic of the show was, honestly, was this right here, you know. Like, I could always go on and plan something and write some notes down or something, you know. Sometimes that feels a little bit contrived. I really do like the challenge of just turning on the camera. I mean, I wanted to bring up the two things I did already. That was the what the general said to Tom DeLonge in terms of the look back at Greek mythology, if you want to understand, and then also the Bobby Ray Inman, who was the head of Neuro, admittedly. Yeah. Other than that, really, it's just been kind of an open board. Wife Lilith started us out just by kind of coming in and telling me that she had all her brakes changed. Yep. So I was glad about that. Shay said, I find it humorous. 20 years ago, people claiming sightings were blown up, deemed crazy. Country bumpkins, right? You got called a country bumpkin by the professor you were debating. Now we are getting disclosure. Wonder how they found out. Yeah, exactly. I just say if it's not a real thing and it's not serious, I mean, I already know. I don't need anyone to tell me, right? I don't need to be disclosed to. You're right in a way. I don't need to be disclosed to, you know. Like if you just know if you know. You just know if you know that something else is going on. Now look, I don't know what that is. I'll never claim to know what that is, and I don't care what they tell me. I don't think they know what all that is. And I think it's several things. But something's going on. There's something else with us here, folks. God, demons, spirits, angels, I don't know. Interdimensionals? I have no idea. But I still think Jesus was a good dude. And I think that basically religion, is okay. I mean, I know that the Council of Nicaea rewrote things 1700 years ago. And of course, King James had his own ideas about what he wanted in the book. So I've decided that when I do read the Bible front to back, and I hope to do that someday, I really do, that I would like to read the oldest one on earth. Hopefully there is a copy of it somewhere. And that would be the Ethiopian Coptic Christian Bible. It is the oldest known Christian Bible on earth. It is housed under guard in Ethiopia in a shrine, along with the Ark of the Covenant, according to the Ethiopians, who the Coptic Christians in Ethiopia who guard that shrine. Now, that's up for debate. Now, according to Scott Walter, who found the Jesus Scroll and is a Knights Templar, actually, and has found many of their clues across the country, and who actually legitimized the Kensington runestone, which is nothing more than a field marker. It's just as one from the 1300s, way before Christopher Columbus got here, at least a full 100 years, or 1100s. And of course, the what do you call them? The diaries, basically, of generations of Swedes, I think it was, Norway, somebody from over there. Wasn't just Vikings. They were Knights Templar, maybe Switzerland, Swiss Guard types. Came twice a lifetime to what they called the Western Banks. The Western Banks would have been our East Coast, because to them, that would have been to the west of them. And they even have stories about meeting the same native people. One of these guys who went over in 1192 or something as a kid with his own father. You made 2 trips, according to these diaries that span 400 years that Scott Walter got a hold of. 2 trips a man will make this if he's in this certain Templar order. Once with his father and once with his own son. And the reason for it was to check up on and possibly relocate the 17 to 20 chambers of treasure that were buried in this country by them. See, it's been a long-term plan. If you're a Freemason or a Knights Templar, you're not planning on tomorrow bringing that change, but you're setting it up for even hundreds of years down the road. And this stuff can all be traced back and proven, by the way. It is why I believe that Meriwether Lewis was murdered. You've heard of Lewis and Clark. He was a Freemason, also possibly a Knights Templar. Clark was not. Clark was sent further on a different expedition in Montana. Lewis went to uncover one of the Templar billion-dollar treasures to bring that back to help continue to fund this country. And they used those treasures, and there was one on Oak Island, according to the documents. It even shows how they built it, where the water would come in and everything. They found these documents over in across the seas. Scott Walter, you guys should check him out. It's really impressive. He's a forensic geologist. He's not just somebody. And so he dates rocks and he does all that stuff. And what got him going on he did crime cases. And what got him going on all this, what the origins of America were years ago was that Kensington runestone. And that was found under Olaf Anderson's tree that fell down in a storm in Minnesota. In the roots of this tree, this 200-year-old tree, under the ground in the roots was a large stone that had chiseled out basically Viking talk or whatever all that stuff is, And it had that hooked X on there. And the hooked X is what indicates, according to Scott Walter, the masculine and feminine, I guess, reality or truth behind Jesus. That it, nowadays it would just be patriarchal, immaculate conception. No women really, they're at the mercy of men basically. But what Scott Walter was saying was that hook X represented a real partnership between the masculine and feminine, and that they were equals, and that's really what Jesus believed, which is really a nice message in my opinion. It wasn't like some offensive message, and if you go through the scroll that was written in Yeshua's hand himself, as he says right here, I wrote this. He even says I'm not 100% human. I think it becomes evidently clear that Yeshua, much like Quetzalcoatl, who is the person responsible for South America and all their knowledge, and Zeus and all their knowledge, possibly were engineered hybrids from another place, whatever that means, another dimension, under the ground, out in there somewhere, whatever. That's what my conclusion is. That really it's a hybrid situation. And also we do, if you believe literally the word of the Bible, then we know that these giants made coitus with earth women and raped them and sort of took them and that's really what set that whole flood thing into motion. And the flood, they called it a flood myth. And as a science atheist for my entire life, I call it a flood myth also. I said, probably regionally someone had a bunch of rain, made up some story. It really turns out every culture on earth has the same story from that same time of, say, 10,000 years ago. Six might have happened more than once. But catastrophes happen, bad enough ones to cleanse this planet, either through comet strikes, meteorite impacts, or floods. And some of those can be caused by other imposing, disasters. I don't mean to try to human explain where we came from. I have no idea, you guys, but I am truly interested in America's, especially as a country, our founding. And I know that according to Scott Walter, and that's WOLTHER, WOL, I guess. Now he's done shows on the History Channel and stuff, and he's got a great YouTube channel. I think you guys should check him out. I mean, it's really interesting stuff, and a lot of it's been verified. Bottom line, at least the age of the items. So that's what I got to say about that. And I find that stuff as highly interesting, and I think it may be tied together in some way with some factions of whatever is going on out there. So why think about it? Why talk about it, right? Because it appears we're reaching a fever pitch of consciousness when it comes to this topic. And I think that's part of it, like that second law of thermodynamics. Once it gets in motion, it's inevitable. There's an ending coming soon. And I think that's where we're at. There's some kind of ending, or I don't know about ending for our lives or planet. I don't want to be that dramatic, but ending to the questions, rather. Whether we want them or not. I think it's coming. Hell, they've been saying it for a long time. But this UFO thing is literally popping out of the seams like Daisy Duke out of those shorts in that early 80s Dukes of Hazzard show. And I'm not kidding you. I mean, it is ripe with legitimate talk right now in every hall of government, federally speaking, in I suppose many state governments, but also in people's religious halls, right? The Catholic Church not 2-3 years ago under Pope Francis said that the Catholic Church has made way for life on other planets, and that it fits perfectly into a religious standpoint. Well, if you believe in an almighty creator, that they of course could create other heavens and other planets and other lives as well. And it may just be something just like that. How interesting. All of this is newsflash to me. Because as far as I was concerned, for 52 of my 54 years, or 51 of them, until I saw what I saw, even though I knew my mom had her experience, I was like, okay, they could be coming here, or maybe they visited once, had a hot dog, and left. But the amount of intermingling, the amount of obfuscation by the highest levels of government, and even the structure of our government itself, has been based around this whole thing the whole time, in my opinion. And they've tried to disclose in the past. Jimmy Carter was going to be the disclosure president. Eisenhower met with aliens. He disappeared, by the way, for 2 days, a week after being on vacation. One newspaper said he had had a heart attack and died. And then it turns out he says, no, I was having a dental emergency. And we're not talking about the president's butler. We're talking about the friggin' president, Eisenhower. But that's the exact same time he was at Holloman Air Force Base. And there are lots of witnesses who are willing to testify at the time under oath, military people who finally came out and said, look, we saw the craft land. We saw Ike get into the craft and talk to these things and make a deal. It is called the Greada Treaty. But they double-crossed us, according to John Lear. Who's John Lear? Well, John Lear is the son of his dad, who made the Learjet, but also who worked for the CIA on special flights, making flyovers on, probably Russian territory in those, SR-71s. So he's not just nobody, but also he was friends with who? Bob Lazar. Well, guess who Bob Lazar took up to the black mailbox before he lost his job at Area 51, or I should say at S4 through EG&G? It was none other than John Lear. And they all witnessed at the time that Bob Lazar said, look, Wednesdays at 8 o'clock, they test this thing out every week. Let's go check it out. And for 2 weeks in a row, it was there for them to check out. The third time, they almost... that's when the cops and everybody showed up. That's when he, he was called on the... Well, then he did his secret interview with George Knapp from KLAS in Las Vegas, and did it as a person named Dennis. And that was in 1989 when Bob Lazar went on the air in disguise as Dennis and said, look, I've been working on reverse engineering shit here at Area 51 at S4 location and within Area 51, which wasn't even admitted to being a real military base at the time. That's how top secret Area 51 was. There was no official admitting that it was a base. And then everyone said he was a liar for all these years. Turns out he wasn't lying. I knew he wasn't lying. I kind of thought maybe he represented someone who actually worked there, and maybe it was their mouthpiece to come out with certain information. But no, he was there. He was there. He did that stuff. Enough has come out now and enough cross corroboration that actually Bob Lazar ends up being the hero. He ends up being the hero, man. He was a real whistleblower. People shot at him. They shot his tires out. I mean, anybody remember he had a Uzi one time on the news camera, He's like waiting for someone to shoot at him. He said, they've already been shooting at me. Unmarked cars, black unmarked cars shot his tires out. And even his boss said, when he called and said, man, he called me, goes, do you have any idea what they're going to do to you now? After they knew it was him on the news. You think that little bit of covering up your face, and they even let him use his real voice. They just put a little black oval over his face and called him Dennis. Like the folks at Area 51 and the deepest echelons, even in 1989, of our, intelligence defense industry, wouldn't be able to pick that guy. They probably already had facial recognition. They could tell by his hair. Who knows what they had then. But they called him right away and said, his boss is like, not only are you fired, but you have no idea what they're going to do to you now. And damn sure right, they did try to kill him. And he's been raided by the FBI several times. They're always trying to do that kind of stuff to him because they've always assumed what? he had element 115. He's basically admitted to stealing element 115, an element that doesn't exist. It exists now, but when Bob Lazar said it back then, it didn't exist. And even now, the way it exists now, the half-life is so short that you can't keep it in a solid form, right? Yet that's what they had to run these craft. A wafer of element 115, and it came with the craft. Now, they would slice wafers off of it, put it a little triangle wafer into this, I don't know, whatever. I wasn't there. But yeah, so forever, and even Bob Lazar says on Joe Rogan, the other day, he said, or whatever show, if I do have it, basically I'm not going to admit it now. No, Jesse Michaels. He just did Jesse Michaels. It was a great interview. But anyways, enough about Bob Lazar. He's got enough of my airtime. Sensei saying, hello, Steve. Hello, Josh. And Steve saying, oh, hello, Sensei. Shay saying, I saw one of your comments about having withdrawals and told Farmer he needed to go live. Chat, we're having withdrawals. We all miss chatting with each other. I know, yeah, you guys definitely please chat it up. I mean, that's the whole show. Hey, Heavy, how you doing? Good to see you too. I'm okay. I had a shitty day. I got kind of irritated today. I was just in a bad mood. I had a tick on me. And I freaked out about that. My tax shit wasn't right. I should have looked at that 2 months ago, but never looked until I went to my tax appointment, of course. And I'm like, oh, it's $1,700 shorter than what it should be. So I never got my taxes done. And then, my living situation may not be going the way I thought it was going to be going in Elkhart. So I may go a different direction. So everything now just feels up in the air again. And you guys know I just do a lot better with stability than without it. So I was just feeling unstable and shitty today. Like, you just feel vulnerable when things aren't settled right, At least I do. Like, the work part is easy. I don't mind putting in the hours to make sure I have the money, but it's the planning. It's the people change their minds so quick, or maybe they don't have enough time to wait an extra couple weeks for you, and that changes everything. So that's where we're at. But just trying to manage my life like everybody else, that's it. I'm still here in the mountaintop in the swamp, though. I got full rain out here. Shay says, when they show like an angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, Farmer has me nagging him in the middle. That's right. Oh, but I was saying to Sensei earlier when we were talking that I really do think the magic, if there's magic, I mean, not real magic, but sort of what makes our show different, and I really do think it's different, is I never know where it's going. After the first couple agenda items that I may have are done, after that, I don't know where it's going to go for the next hour or two. I like that personally. And I think that we do that differently here. I like to really pour over the comments. You'll notice I'm not just reading through the comments to get through the comments. Oftentimes I will reread comments if I myself am not, I feel, interpreting them for everyone properly. So it really matters to me, and I feel like that we all make this show together based on this interaction between the chat and this camera, right? Although I'd just be standing here looking at the camera. But because you guys put things up, it pulls me in other directions, and I really kind of dig it. And I think we should be exploring that a little bit as a community. That's all. Heavy saying, hey, y'all. I feel like I want a beer now. God, I hope I'm not an alcoholic. I had one beer 2 days ago, but I want one. I really want one. I have one left. I'm going to have a beer. I'm just going to do it. My ice is melting. It's going to be warm again in a while. Oh, baby. Come on, baby. No, you don't need a beer. Hey, come on. Come here, baby. So, yes, I have now sprayed everything down. Get up here. Good boy. I have hosed everything down with chemicals. Because I'm just too damn paranoid. But I was glad to hear that the ticks that give you the Lyme disease, for the most part, are these little ass tiny ones that you can't even barely see, which explains why I never noticed it on my foot and my sock, which actually gave me Lyme disease, and why I mean, I picked that one off my arm that one time. I don't think I went to the doctor for that. Anyways, I'm going to be fine. I'm not worried about it now. I'm just going to drink this mother effing beer. Two Hearted Ale by Bell's Brewery, Kalamazoo, Michigan. I mean, somebody owns it now in Holland. Oh, across the seas, you know, but Larry Bell sold it last year. But for decades, this was the oldest microbrewery east of the Mississippi River. That's right, Bell's in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And we used to brew a lot of beer in Kalamazoo, but that was pre-Prohibition. After Prohibition, it was illegal for small breweries to operate. You had to be a big, big operator and have big special federal license, you know. You couldn't be a local, in other words. That wasn't cool. That was one of the concessions, right, that the alcohol industry made to the prohibitionists, was that, nah, we ain't going to let mom and pop brew no more. And everybody could have their own little beer stand. You want it, you got to go to a big corporation. I think that's the wrong message. And you know who else thought that was the wrong message? Jimmy Carter. And that's why we can have Bell's beer today, is because of Jimmy Carter's executive order. Because why? His loser brother Billy wanted to make Billy beer. He couldn't do it unless Jimmy signed the order. Thank you, Jimmy. And that's a fact. And right after that, Larry Bell opened up Bell's Brewery in Kalamazoo, Michigan. You guys can Google that shit if you want. I don't make stuff up. Shay saying this time of year I ain't in till dark. I mean, I'm in whenever. I mean, it's been very rainy over here. Kalamazoo got hit with a tornado, I guess. I don't know if you guys heard that. Of course, I don't know why you would, but I mean, apparently Kalamazoo got hit a little bit with a tornado. I was fine out here. Power stayed on the whole time, everything. Svobodan to my Yugoslavian friends, or should I say my Croatian friends. Happy saying hello to Sensei, and happy saying hello to Shay. Josh is saying that's good to hear that you're well funded. Fortunately, my area has no, so I'll be saved from. Well, I got to reread this. I don't know. See, I don't know anything about what WH means. I see WH, I think White House. I don't know. I'm not well funded, whatever that means. I'm poor as shit. I live in an RV in a soybean field. I mean, one thing if I was burying treasure out back, you know, but I'm barely scraping by in an RV in a soybean field. Not for lack of trying. And I have been getting more stable. But these things take time. It's nothing you can do overnight, you know. That's why you have to do it every day. And yes, some days I do kind of feel like I'm going to lose it a little, you know. Because I can handle one, maybe two things that are like big things at a time. But I've always said I have a hard time when 3 and 4 things start piling on. Like, oh my God, do I have Lyme disease? I got to do this. I have to do that. I have to be moving, you know, I got this dog, you know, and it just all hits you at once. I think probably the lesson is, how do I train my mind to just stay auto-focused on one thing that's big to knock out at a time, and trying to do that. Transportation, dog, living, you know, as simple as that sounds. I mean, I can't imagine what you folks go through having children. I mean, you see how I struggle. I mean, I can't imagine having to take care of a whole other person. Wow. Big Fish is here. How you doing, Big Fish? Remember when YouTube used to have a chat feature for personal messaging? No, I do not, Shay. But this place has a chat feature for personal messaging, doesn't it? I can't remember. I thought it did. I'm always on StreamYard, though. I'm not on YouTube when I'm broadcasting. I rewatch it on YouTube. And there's really a lot of comments. I do always rewatch because I will inevitably miss several comments. And Shay saying, I hope it's not just the next distraction. Wow, I'm behind, you guys. Another thing about participation, you have to kind of stay up on it or else you get behind, which soothes me in a way because I know that I can just keep reading these comments and we got a good show. Happy saying hey to Fishy. Let me get through a few. Fishy saying, you know it is, Shay. Shay, fishy. I know she means. Big Fish saying hello. It's really crazy. Your mom and I have a connection. Whose mom? Let me go back. That's Shay. I just hope it's not the next distraction. Wait, whose mom? Shay, whose mom? It's really crazy. Your mom and I have a connection. Who, me? Am I you guys' connection? My mom will dig you, Shay. My mom's really pretty cool, actually, to be honest with you. I really like my mom. Like when I lived with her, and she would smoke pot with me sometimes and listen to Howard Stern. Like, my mom is fucking cool, man. I hope she's doing good. I need to be closer to her. That's part of the plan. Part of my plan is going to be where I end up next time is going to be kind of closer to her again. Not in Kalamazoo, but close. I'll talk more about that later when I formulate it and get more things solid before I go talking too much and jinxing myself. Sensei saying, don't forget to hit that like button for our friend Farmer. Thank you, Sensei. I would never ask myself, of course, but since I do read every comment and sometimes leave them up on the screen for a minute, no point in not doing it. Big Fish saying, Joe Rogan has someone else saying that aliens are like us in the future. They're time traveling back to possibly learn or try to slightly change something. Absolutely. I think some of that's going on. That someone could have been Dr. Michael McMasters, could have been there are actually a lot of people that have worked out this theory, but whatever it is, it's very complicated. Again, I contend it is not as simple as just because I think that's something people could wrap their heads around. Honestly, I think they would have fully disclosed if all we were dealing with is an alien coming here from another planet going, hey, I just want to meet you guys. That's something they could disclose. This is much deeper than that. There is much more of a connection between the government and their visits. And we may be on their planet for all we know. You see what I'm saying? It's very complicated. But whatever it is, we are completely vulnerable as a human race to them. We know that they are all powerful. And that if they would have wanted, everyone says, well, if they wanted to destroy, they could have done it already. Well, maybe they're planning it tomorrow. How the hell do I know? I want to know the truth now. Well, whatever is close to the truth. It doesn't mean we're going to learn everything. Things that are still national security are going to stay national security. Things that may indicate how to build anti-gravity propulsion, those are going to stay secret and should. Okay, because that same technology also makes time-traveling machines and death rays. Okay, shit where now suddenly you have a small country that could blow up the entire planet with some of this technology. That stuff needs to stay locked away forever. The last thing we need is more advanced weapons beyond nukes, whatever that means. I have heard rumors that one of the weapons that is a secret technology weapon that the general worked on and that many of these other missing scientists worked on is something called a plasma railgun. Plasma railgun. They are just stopping short of calling plasma a fourth state of matter beyond what? Liquid, solid, gas, and plasma, which they claim may be taking it's smart plasma up in the sky that's becoming a portal, or it morphs into things. Look, I don't know, guys. It's weird shit. And it reminds me of something that Dr. J. Allen Hynek said. Now, J. Allen Hynek first oh yeah, Elf, yeah, he was good. But you know, that might have been a little bit like E.T., a little bit too much of a nice message. I think it must have something more. And I think there are some negative impacts for some folks. I really do. But whatever. That's all guessing. And like Mr. Steve said, I mean, we're all basically speculating when it comes to any of these things until we have more data in front of us and proof of anything. We need the data. What's the connection? Who, Shay? Other than my mom saw a UFO too. I have to wonder. My mom was pregnant with my sister when she had her experience, and my cousin. I mean, he did say to me, my cousin's son, who's also my cousin, he's older than my sister, so he was already 3 or 4. He was sleeping in my grandparents' little side room while his mom was working at the hospital, my aunt, who also witnessed the craft. She pulls in the driveway. This thing shoots straight up from above the garage. And she won't talk about that today, though, because she is a fundamental religious person, and she says it was a demon. But she saw something. And then they chased it 20 miles into the next township. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely on the table, Big Fish. Not because Joe Rogan said it, but because it might just be a fact. Right? I mean, if technology compounds over time, and we ever get to the point where 0-point technology and anti-gravitic propulsion takes over in the future, apparently it's the same technology to bend things around to move around in time. That's what the physicists are saying. And by the way, Einstein, I don't know who was talking about it, but someone brought up the MH370 orb situation again. Do you guys remember our show on that where I showed the orbs syncopating around Flight 370 and then it disappears? Yeah, that was real. That's that plasma technology, and they have it. The government has it. They said it was a test. I heard that somewhere. Pretty legit, too. Oh, wow. And keep in mind, that was recorded on what? Gorgon Stare, which is an official military drone application. Well, okay. From 2 drones. I personally think everyone just needs to the Epstein files, go and concentrate on something we can do something about, like catching the pedos next door. Yeah, not a bad idea, but none of us want to think that the people that we vote for or the people that we, that are at some top echelons of the entertainment industry. I mean, it just makes everything feel so scuzzy, Shay. It really does. It's like, can't you fucking creeps keep your hands off kids? I mean, you're already the most powerful and richest people in the world, right? You have to take what the common folks love, their children, and do what? Put them in some kind of ring somewhere? Yeah, I find it despicable. I find it fucking despicable. People like Jeffrey Epstein should just have their whole... Ugh. I just don't like people like that. I don't like people like that. I don't like people who abuse their power like that and their money. I mean, let alone the horrendous crimes and the lifelong post-traumatic stress you're giving someone that they now have to deal with the rest of their life and pass on to their generations, being ineffective parents because they've had to deal with this abuse. I think it's disgusting, quite frankly. As a society, as a human, to prey on the most vulnerable people on the planet. I mean, what's the difference then? Why, ugh. Fuck Jeffrey Epstein. God, what a piece of shit. And anyone that supported him. Now, listen, there were plenty of people that supported him for scientific, like Avi Loeb's. Like, yeah, maybe I met him once, but I never went to no island, okay? I mean, this guy is giving out billions of dollars to fund scientific programs. So maybe I met with him. I don't remember meeting with him. Maybe we emailed. But let's not get it confused with going to an island to do bad things, right? And I agree with Avi there. I mean, guilt by association when you weren't intending on, when you're literally just trying to solicit funds for your college's, physics department. But Epstein was very interested in Atlantis, UFOs, and time travel. I'm telling you, him and Ghislaine even looked into getting her own island that was completely autonomous, her own money. She would have called it something. I forgot. It was this whole fucking deal. These people are weirdos. So they knew something else is going on. above and beyond normal physics. Heavy saying, Cryptex, hope you're well. Heavy Hiawatha, how you been, love? And Cryptex saying hello to Heavy. Hiawatha, Joe Rogan sold out and really put Theo Von down bad. I don't know who Theo Von is, so I don't know what to say about that. I swear to God, I'm so far out of touch with like pop culture. I have no idea. Cryptex saying the same here, Josh. No, not at all, Jerry. I mean, I've really just been blabbering about the General McCaslin. I just wanted to, there are a couple things on the last broadcast I couldn't think of. One was General McCaslin's reference to Tom DeLonge. He said, if you want to know about this phenomenon in the sky and in the ocean, you have to look back at Greek mythology. I thought that was highly interesting. And then also I couldn't think of the former head of the National Underwater Reconnaissance Office. That would be one, Admiral Bobby Ray Inman. Heather saying hi to Jari. Excuse me while I like itch and pick my nose a little bit. Sorry. Sensi saying hey Jari. And Hiawatha, Heavy, hey honey, I've been sick but feeling better. You still got that shit? CHF has been exacerbated for a couple weeks. I don't know what CHF is. I thought you had food poisoning, Hiawatha. Shay saying hi to Jari. And Hiawatha saying, I hate it when that voice in my head tells me you want a beer. Right, because you don't drink anymore, right, Hiawatha? Am I correct in saying that? So yeah, I don't want to be a bad influence. Not my intention at all whatsoever. Or to glorify drinking at all. And please know that for me, drinking means I'll have one of these and call it good. I don't need to overindulge. I bet the only thing I really overindulge in are these damn cigarettes. And I know they're a killer. They are addictive too. Josh says, I miss beer. Had to quit because of blood pressure. Really? Well, you know, I mean, your health is never worth, I mean, I can't, they said, look, I guess I could probably say that about the cigarettes right away. I mean, I'm killing myself with these things. So I guess I won't say too much. Otherwise, I'm just being a hypocrite. I need to quit smoking someday. I was looking back to see what was going on. I learned this week that Yugoslavia means South Slavia. Never heard that. My great-grandma, of course, came over on a ship in 1912, April of 1912, called what? How would you guys know? Because it's a very historically significant ship called the Carpathia. And it was on that voyage that the Carpathia dropped my great-grandmother off at Ellis Island with her trunk, which I still have, and then went back on that very voyage and rescued the only survivors from something called the Titanic. The Titanic. April 1912. That's when my story starts here in this country. That'd be the same month that so many folks' stories ended so far north in the Atlantic. Heavy saying, Fishy, I've only gotten 13,000 messages now that I signed up for that. Josh saying, sorry, I was talking about Mr. Steve being well-funded. Oh, Waffle House. Got it. Yeah, well, I mean, I just read the story about the FEMA official who said God transported him to the Waffle House. Mr. Steve, I thought it was funny, just because it was Waffle. The Waffle House reference I thought was hilarious, and you would find a joke in that. What an odd place to be transported to, you know, a Waffle House. But Mr. Steve swears by the place, and I thought, well, maybe there is something to this Waffle House. I mean, even God is bringing people there. You know, so I thought I better go see a Waffle House soon, you know, before it's too late. Heavy saying, Fishy. Oh, we already did that one. Mr. Steve saying to me, Derek Farmer, that's me. I'm the host. Josh was responding to my comment of appreciation to his offer of donating, but I advised the foundation was well-funded. Well, that's good. I'm glad that it is. Yes, that's good. You'd never survive being a My Head Farmer, Dr. J. Ellen Hynek. No, probably not. But that doesn't brings back to what I never finished him saying. And he said, first he was there to debunk everything, right? The gas, the swamp gas. That was at the same time my mom had her sighting. He came to the Frank Manor Farm in Webster, Michigan, to Hillsdale College, and Kalamazoo, only a couple hours away. Same crap, by the way. The crap that Frank Manor describes over his swamp being the size of a small car. My mom said the size of her crap was about the size of a Volkswagen. Boom, those things match. That there were lights going around, flashing all around. Actually, I got the distinction from my mom. I said, was it like a dog chasing its tail as far as how the lights were going around? Or were they random? She said they were random. Red, blue, green, and white. Guess what colors Frank Manor saw on the craft over his swamp the very same month my mom had her Volkswagen-sized UFO sighting? Oh, I don't know. Red, blue, white, green. She said all the colors were there, basically, flashing on and off around the center of the craft. And people say, well, isn't that kind of low class that your UFO has to look like some dime store Christmas tree flashing on and off? We don't know what those lights are for. Maybe that's how they let us know that they're there. Maybe they want our reaction. We have no idea what the message is, what the purpose is, or how many factions there are. But the police that came to Frank Manor's house from Webster, Michigan believed him because they saw the same craft. It wasn't until J. Allen Hynek came here and said, just swamp gas. Some dead plant material, usually turns into a Volkswagen-sized car with flashing lights all around it, only to fly off at a high rate of speed. But one thing he did say after all that debunking shit was over, because remember, he became then one of UFO's biggest advocates after he quit Project Blue Book and wrote many books on the cases, basically, that he goes, look, these cases really meant something, but I couldn't come out and say it. And he said one thing that stuck with me. He said, the stranger an event is, the more likely it is to be true. The more likely it is. The odder and stranger these events are, the more likely it is to be true. Because if people are going to make something up, rarely will they be able to make up the odd, strange details that come with some of these stories. And this also brings forth, what did the general mean when he said, look back at Greek mythology? So I'm thinking about, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Here's what I think it means. In my opinion, this means that humans, us, right? That there are archetypes. You guys know what an archetype is? Like Prometheus, like Zeus, an archetype, or even something that a whole society at once will see something one way for it only to be something a little bit different a generation down the road. Think disc-shaped craft versus Jules Verne type balloon in the sky around the world in 80 days, or even versus a triangle versus an orb. That these things are all archetypes. That the phenomenon knows what to appear at that time, to give us whether it's Ezekiel's fiery wheel in the sky or a talking burning bush, that these are archetypes. And that's why they run in phases through generations, depending on what the most notable archetype type of that time is. Now, Indians and original indigenous people oftentimes are the people that were in canoes in the sky. See what I'm saying? So, well, that's okay, Shay. I got you, Shay. Hello there, Mr. Steve. Hope you and the lovely wife are well. As well. I forgot to send sometimes. And then he says we're doing well, thanks. Good. That's great. Heavy agreeing. That's great. Farmer, that's nuts. Damn, see, now this is where I get lost. Because I said something nuts, but now I can't remember which part it was, Heavy. Because now I am exactly 14 minutes behind in the chat. Which I love. Let me take a slug of me old coffee here. I have two things going on drink-wise. I have coffee that's getting cold and a beer that's getting warm. Neither of those are, so I gotta like, ugh. Gonna have to pee soon. Josh saying thanks for I'm about to be abducted and walked around the block by my pup Inky. Inky, that's a cute name. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for stopping in, even briefly. I always appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Mr. Steve saying to Josh the Posh, take care. And I concur. Please take care. Have a good walk with Inky. That's a cute name. I noticed Cryptex has been putting up a lot of videos with Cripsy lately. Yes, I know the name of the dog. I called him Crispy forever. I've only been corrected too many times. Junior Johnson's here. Hello from Michigan. Hello, Junior. You sound like me. I always introduce myself as Derek from Kalamazoo, Michigan. I don't know why we're so proud of it, I think it's a pretty unique place, I'll be honest with you. You could be one of those square states with like no water, right? Instead, right here, just say, where do you live? I live right there. That's where I live. And everyone knows what it means. It's the only state in the union you can point to your hand and know where you live. If your hands haven't been chopped off. Junior saying hi to Heather. Happy saying, just tried the Waffle House in St. Charles and loved it. Haven't been to a breakfast joint in years. It irritates me. I like usually just like family-owned breakfast joints. I go to these IHOPs or a Denny's or something. You pay like $28 for breakfast. You're still hungry afterwards. Like I'm a big eater for breakfast, Anybody know what's on my eye? I'm gonna take my glasses off. Can I have a doctor, please? Is Boston here tonight? I need WebMD. Oh my God. Look it's like dry skin or something. It won't go away, and it's weirding me out. It looks like a sty or something almost. You guys can see it, right? Oh my God. I need a doctor. I need a doctor. I need a fucking witch doctor. Really, I didn't try the coffee. Waffle House has the worst coffee, says Junior Johnson. Uh-oh. Now, Junior. Now, Mr. Steve loves that Waffle House. Yeah, but you know what? You guys want to know what solves bad coffee in any situation, by the way, if you really do like a good cup of coffee? You bring these little single serve packets of either Folgers or Taster's Choice. Whatever coffee you rip that little single serve packet instant open, dump it in your shitty coffee. It makes it a richer, stronger cup. Then you can add more cream and sugar if necessary. But you'll end up with a cup like this here. See this? See the cup? Oh, bad light. This looks relatively creamy, but it's got a shit ton of coffee. I make mine right in the jar. I never even took any out of this jar. I snort the first half out, and then I just put water in, baby. But really, it's because I use real half and half, and I use a lot of it, so that's why I get a nice light color like that. Coffee it's got in it, though. Happy saying, really, I didn't try the coffee. Really? You went to a breakfast joint without having coffee? What do you drink, Mountain Dew for breakfast? The color red does not exist in space. The color blue didn't exist in words until 3,000 years ago. I'm not saying the color didn't exist, but people would describe in antiquity the ocean as a green or black, not blue. And the sky was just a shade of gray. So yeah, blue wasn't recognized as its own color until about 3,000 years ago, from what I read. But we only see color in a certain spectrum as humans, and it's all a trick anyways. I don't know how that all works. It has something to do with the double slit experiment and wave forms and light stuff that it's not real anyways. We were basically just assigning color to things with our brains. Yeah. I know it's a weird concept to get. You look at something, you go, bullshit. I know black. I know green. Well, not if there's not a definition for those things, you don't. Also, yeah, some eyes didn't see certain colors up until not that long ago, from what I understand. I don't know how they figured all that out. And I hear that dogs are colorblind, or it's only seeing black and white. It's like their least good sense. Dogs, obviously, great hearing, right? I'm not, maybe not my dog, but I've been working on that, by the way. I've not given up on his ears, even though he's gone home. I've been diligently working on those ears every day with a good rinse. And also, I got rid of all things yeasty. I was giving him yeasty food because I was fucking up right from the beginning. I didn't know he needed a yeast-free food. This is exacerbating the situation, setting him up for failure. I think they buy the cheapest coffee they can get, Heather. Now, Junior, how do you feel about the breakfast? Because you could have a Coca-Cola or perhaps a nice cup of tea. But do they have good hash browns? That's all I really care about. Because the one breakfast item I can never seem to recreate at home, I can make a great fried potato. Nobody makes a fried potato like I could. If I come to your house, I will show you how to make farmer's fried potatoes. I learned it from my grandma. She showed me the trick. You got to scorch it first, then steam it. First you scorch, then you steam. Reminds me of that phrase that popped into my head when I was driving that said, first we mimic, then we learn. And I thought, oh, I'm going crazy. Where did that come from? I still don't know. Steak and Shake. They got those stupid French fry things. I like Steak and Shake. And by the way, DoorDashing, they were the best place to DoorDash out of. They treated their DoorDash drivers like gold. And I was always so nice, you know. They really took care of us. But they got those straw fries, those little straw. I don't like those. I need a fat fry. I like more of a steak fry guy. Happy saying phenomenal. Oh, Steak and Shake is phenomenal. And their burgers are good. And they cook it right there with a high quality meat, you know. And anybody that knows the fries knows it gets cooked in beef tallow. Whatever that is. Whatever beef tallow is. I don't know. Happy saying, neither can I. I forgot what we can't stand, but something we can't stand. They have a place, all-you-can-eat place in Toledo, Ohio. People get in fights all the time, Mr. Steve. What place is that called? I love it, all-you-can-eat. Oh, because Mr. Steve was saying, yeah, the top tier, the entertainment at the Waffle House is top tier. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, right. I gotta believe that. Oh Lord. Let's see. Let me catch up here. Or let me get to the next one. Happy laughing at Junior. Who has an all-you-can-eat place? Waffle House has an all-you-can-eat place. What do they call that? Sambo's? Some shit like that. Only down south can you have a restaurant with a little black kid on it called Sambo's. I'm sorry. That shit would never fly up north. Got this little black kid on there like, I'm Sambo. Yeah. They didn't have those in Detroit. They had Rambo's. No, Heavy, it's not a pimple. No, really, it's not. One, I don't get pimples that much anymore. Although in the restaurant, when you're working with a lot of grease, you can still occasionally get a pimple. This is just a dry. The reason it doesn't look dry now is because I put a little bit of Vaseline on it. It's not just for your sore butt. Sorry. Okay, this is what happens when I have 2 drinks of beer and I'm in kind of a shitty mood. And Junior saying, I like Bob Evans for breakfast. I also love Bob Evans. And if I would like to sign over half my check to have breakfast there, I will do so. But their sausage, gravy, biscuits, and potatoes are all so delicious. I do love that sausage gravy. And they got great biscuits. Oh, my God. Their biscuits at Bob Evans. Great. No, it doesn't itch your head. No, it's just there. There's no itch whatsoever. Mm-mm. No itch. No. Whatever that means. Seems too our way to be a sty. Yeah, it could be. It might just be I was diagnosed years ago with psoriasis. Could just be a little bit of psoriasis, I suppose, coming back. Man, I try to keep my face. I don't have a shower, but I still wash, Nice to have a shower again. Soda every morning. I knew it, Heavy. No coffee, so you're a pop drinker in the morning. Well, then you're not allowed to really have a coffee opinion, in my opinion. You don't like coffee at all. It wouldn't matter. Do you like the smell of coffee brewing? Like really good, like I don't know, like Kona or a Costa Rican coffee, or perhaps an Ethiopian, something a little bit stronger. No, I like to grind my own beans, and much like a monkey at the fair, I like to grind my own organ. I am making myself laugh today. I don't know if I'm making you guys laugh. A Junior saying, as I spoke before, mass arrest for all you can eat reminds me of the Shawnee uprising in the 90s. Shoney's. I remember Shoney's. Well, people go crazy for all you can eat, especially depending on the location. Now, we had in Colorado, right across from the trailer park, no offense, was what I call the golden feed bag, but what they call the golden corral. At 5 o'clock on a Friday, you almost had to stop traffic because of the foot traffic coming over from, the mobile home park. I thought maybe an underground tunnel, perhaps, to one of these places might be a good idea to get some of that foot traffic off the road. Junior saying I drink a lot of coffee. I like Starbucks. Too bitter for me. I mean, I like bitter, good coffee, but I'm just not a Starbucks fan. Unless you're buying it for me, Junior. Otherwise, I'm too cheap. I'd like Johnny Depp for breakfast. Oh my goodness, Shay. Did you really just say that? Isn't he getting a little isn't he getting a little long in the tooth? Johnny, he's like, no offense, he's like 65. I mean, he can get Social Security now. I mean, it's not exactly, it's more like 41 Jump Street. It's 61 Jump Street. Have you saying no farmer, my fave? Shay, don't we all? I must have missed the Shoney's Uprising. I'll try and find it at True Crime Rev. Oh, Steve was talking about the Shoney's Uprising. See, I remember all these weird restaurants because my grandparents would take us on vacation down to Mammoth Cave or, here and there. And there'd always be these, Waffle House or Sambo's or Shoney's. I do remember seeing a lot of Shoney's. There are some other ones too. I'm trying to think now. Some really notable ones. Really focusing on jellies and jams. Let me think of that one. Crip saying, gotta go. Good to see you guys. Sorry, Crip, we're a little boring over here tonight. We're just talking about defunct breakfast joints on the highway. And just general stuff. But I'm glad you stopped by, Crip. Happy saying, Crip, have a good one, dear. It was nice to see you. And Shay saying bye, Cryptex. And Jerry saying bye. What if he decides to stay, you guys? I always do that on shows. I'll be like, I gotta go. Is anyone gonna say bye to me? Maybe I think it's Golden Corral. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what we had. Yeah. It's the only one left. They closed a lot of them down. I like a fancy buffet, like at a nice like in Vegas, I got some great buffets. I mean, Jesus. I never had stone crab before. Yeah, definitely could be psoriasis. Yeah, probably. It's just, I guess, especially could be my shingles coming back. I had shingles real bad, But again, there's no discomfort with it, so I don't think shingles is usually very painful. Boy, let me tell you what, that is painful. Shingles. I had it bad. Hi, Watha saying I've never tasted a B&G anywhere that tasted as good as mine. True story. God dang it with the initials, guys. I don't know because I have to think on the fly. What's a B&G? I don't know. But it's food or a drink. I love coffee, but I had to stop drinking most energy stuff. I ended up at the hospital. Oh, yeah, I don't drink energy drinks. No. No, I put energy drinks in the same category as cheap vapes. It's meant to recreate something that is already here, that exists, that's not even as bad for you as the shit chemicals they're recreating it with, in my opinion. These cigarettes, we know, will kill you, but it's going to take a lot of decades to do it. And you're going to put a lot of kids through college with the taxes they put on it. Those vapes, we have no idea. People are getting butter lung and whatever kind of lung from the shit they put in there. No thanks. Anyways, without tobacco, cotton, and free labor, we wouldn't even have a country. So thank the slaves, if you will. Because without them, without the slaves, without tobacco, without cotton, we would not have been able to attain the wealth we attained and to have the military we had. So people say, well, I didn't have any slaves. I'm not responsible for that. Well, maybe you ought to thank a descendant's family for helping make our country. That's my point. It was their free labor and on the backs of hundreds of thousands of people doing free labor that we were able to generate the funds to fight these wars and to start out as a country. That's a fact. I buy Starbucks morning blend. It's not bitter. Junior. Now, Junior, you know how I feel about that Paul Newman dressing. Boston's here. Uh-oh. I was just about ready to leave Boston. I'm going to stay on for you. I'd like to say hello this evening to one of my favorite listeners. And I don't even like y'all. To one of the favorite contributors to this show and part of this community, Boston Christian. Good evening, my dear. It's good to see you. Shay saying, Farmer, I'm 72. If Junior can have Bob Evans for breakfast, why can't I have Johnny Depp? Well, I say, why just have him for breakfast? Shay, you're 72. Have him for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, sweetie. Throw a little Mark Harmon in there, and everyone's doing well. Heavy saying, hi, Boston. Good to see you. CSI age Mark Harmon. What I don't know. He may be at the home by now. But not a Ted Bundy aged Mark Harmon. Okay? Because my whole growing up, I thought Ted Bundy was Mark Harmon. They look exactly alike, and he played him on the movie on TV. I would see him on other shows and go, Mom, why is Ted Bundy acting in these movies? I thought he was in prison. Heavy saying, Boston, good to see you. And Junior saying, Boston, Christian, good to see you. Heavy saying, Shay, how about some Sam Elliott for supper? Heavy. We got to clean some of that hair off Sam first. My God, it is a mess. It looks like someone threw taco meat on him. Shay saying, hey, Boston. And Shay saying, oh, God. Hi, Watts saying we're talking about breakfast places, Farmer, biscuits and gravy. Oh, B&G, got it. Biscuits and gravy. Oh, okay. Okay. See, you can tell I never did. I never worked in a breakfast joint waiting tables because that would be shorthand, B&G, you know, for a breakfast waitress, you know. But I do have a love for breakfast waitresses. Let me say that. And even as a kid, would watch Alice on the regular. And while everyone was kissing Flo's grits, I always liked the goofy one, Darlene or whatever her name was, you know. She didn't know her ass from a hole in the ground. Junior, Mr. Steve saying, I was referencing our local Shoney's restaurant where I arrested several generations. Oh, good. I love these. I love these, Mr. Steve, so much. I'm going to start over with this comment. Junior, I was referencing our local Shoney's. And I know I'm pronouncing it right. It ain't, you put the word honey up there, you say Shoney's. Because honey, without the S, right? But we know it's Shoney's, where I arrested several generations of two families who brawled over the breakfast fixings. We called it an uprising. I mean, they might have fought over those breakfast fixings, Mr. Steve, but something tells me there may have been a little tension in the room before the boysenberry came. Shay Watson saying, and Billy Bob could read me bedtime stories. Really? Billy Bob bucking Thornton, Shay? Ugh, gross. Like Shay with all like biscuits and mustard on it. Great movie. Happy saying, Shay, you cracking me up, girl. Hi, Watha Boston. Hey there. Oh, I'm almost caught up. You guys don't let me catch up or the show's over. Uh-oh. Shay, I'll read slow. Happy saying, Shay, I would have thought you were in your 20s. Oh, I totally, by the way. I didn't think she was in her 20s. I wasn't like going that young, but I never would have guessed Shay at 72 because she makes a lot of like rock and roll references. I mean, she understands rock and roll. I mean, I don't want to speak for Shay, but that old school like rock and roll, baby. Especially the Midwestern sort of rock and roll, REO Speedwagon, these kind of bands. I know she knows that kind of stuff well. Oh, Boston, it's so good to see you. I'm glad you're here. I love Boston so much. Hi, Watha saying, Shay, you want Sling Blade to read you bedtime stories? You know who did really well in that movie, honestly? I mean, who knew Dwight Yoakam had such acting chops? He is a good country singer. Absolutely talented country singer, Dwight Yoakam. Absolutely talented songwriter. But he can act. That dude can act. And not many people can make that crossover. Think about Billy Bob Thornton going the other way. Anybody have those albums from that band he was in after he was an actor? Fuck no, you don't. Why? No one cares about Billy Bob Thornton singing him a song. Get on the screen and direct or act something. That burns my ass when these actors think suddenly because they're famous actors, they can also be musicians. Dwight Yoakam did it the other way. He was a notable, talented musician. I'm not a huge fan, but to say he's not a talented, notable, that would be a lie. And then he did some bit acting. And I contend anyone can act. I mean, all you have to do is memorize the lines and repeat them. That's acting, right? I could do that. Nope, that easy. Burns my ass when somebody that makes $20 million a year throws all that away going, I think I'm going to try singing. I mean, who are you, a Bacon brother? Just get back in the Jeepers Creepers movies or the Critters 6 or whatever and stop trying to think you're a rock and roll star. Corey Feldman, idiot. Boston saying, Shay, hi, Watha, Heavy, Jari, good to see everyone. Yes, I agree. And Heavy saying, hi, Watha, laughing out loud at hi, Watha. And Boston saying hello to True Crime Web. Hi, Watha. Shay's thinking about something he said. Boston, BG over hash browns equals country. Now, we know biscuits and gravy over hash browns equals country. But I must be country because that's how I like it. And as a matter of fact, I request it that way. I want that gravy everywhere. Everywhere. Okay? I love that gravy. Is there a better gravy than sausage gravy? I'm sorry. You can talk about your turkey gravy, your common beef brown gravy. What else has delicious lumps of sausage in it and is also creamy enough to put over biscuits? Nothing. Would a beef gravy taste good over your homemade biscuits? I don't think so. It would be off. That goes on beef and mashed potatoes. But not your damn not your breakfast biscuits. It goes on a hot beef sandwich, but that is Texas toast. And Texas toast ain't biscuits. Sorry, that's my faux anger working there. Wonder where, speaking of faux anger, I wonder where Abby is tonight. I'd like to say hello to Abby Morris, our mod and my friend from the Kalamazoo area, who has witness craft with me. She's not here tonight, but just in case she rewatches, Abby, I hope you are studying for next week's exams. Sherry say, Mr. Steve, that's hilarious. Oh, yeah, I want to hear the whole story, Mr. Steve. I mean, yeah, you tease. And by the way, Mr. Steve, have you ever told the story, Mr. Steve, that you were going to tell on episode 3 of my show before I lost my mind when I couldn't get you on the air the first time? And not the first time I lost my mind. I mean, the first time I lost my mind on YouTube. Because I don't know if you remember the story you were going to tell. And I'm not asking you to tell that story now. I'd still like to reserve that for a special time. Let's just say it was rather explosive. Mm-hmm. But I had asked you for a story that you hadn't told anywhere else. And this was the, it was going to be good. It was going to be so good. Yeah, it sure was. Boston saying, hey, Derek. Oh, yeah, Shay. I mean, Hiawatha. Shay wants to be read bedtime stories by Sling Blade. Hello, Shay. Oh, no, we can't do it. It was a great movie, though. Boss say, Shay, Hiawatha, Happy Jari. Oh, wait, we gotta get ahead. Oh, yeah, here we go. Here we go. Junior saying, my family is from Kentucky, right across the river from the Hatfield and McCoy. Oh, the Hatfields and McCoys. Yeah, sure, of course. A classic family feud. One that led to the deaths of plenty of people by real dead people. We're not just talking about fistfights out in the driveway over a couple beers. I mean, we're talking like, you shot my grandpa, my brother, and now I'm going to kill all of you. I mean, it was something that really happened. I've watched the documentaries. That's right. Junior saying hillbillies will fight over anything. I'm sure breakfast could be one. Well, they don't like to be challenged by each other, Junior. Or outdone. No one wants to be outdone, Happy saying true. True. And Happy saying, oh, I love Dwight Yoakam. Yeah, Dwight Yoakam, yeah. Well, he was great in Sling Blade, by the way. And I think he did other acting bits after that. He played the abusive husband, actually. I think Sling Blade ended up offing him at the end, but he was a dick. But I mean, he did it really well. Like, obviously, he's acting. He's supposed to be. But yeah, he was a real jerk in that movie. Heavy saying, especially in his leather pants and cowboy hat. Oh, you girls are crazy tonight. You ain't never seen me in leather pants. And nobody's seen me in leather pants. I've never wore leather pants. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I ain't never gonna put on no leather pants. Shay saying, heavy. In the 70s, I was in my 20s. Now it's the 20s and I'm in my 70s. That's depressing. Not really, Shay. I know it does suck getting older. And I do find myself getting sentimental from time to time about, past acquaintances and experiences. And it's sort of all, especially when you sit out in a field by yourself for an entire year, and you're used to intermingling with other people. Like, I'm used to being social. And so it kind of makes you harken back to a time when I really felt like at a time for many decades, especially the time I was living in my house for those, 25 years, that I had such a built-in support system with friends that I didn't see it as support. It was just there. And without that, I very much miss that connection. But, life does that sometimes, and people get their own families and have their own responsibilities and have to raise their own children. They can't just keep raising Derek Farmer for their whole life, Because I contend I am like a big kid, At some points, I need a guiding hand sometimes. Even at my age, I do. I really do. Well, not from doing bad things. Like I don't need someone to go, hey, don't do that dumb bad thing, but more like I know you can do better. I know that you don't have to get wrapped up in this depression. You don't have to get feeling that way, Man, I don't have to. I find that the more stability that I have in life, the less I tend to feel like that. Shay saying I like Keeper's music. Really? Do you really like it? Or do you, I mean, I can't think of one Keeper Sutherland song. And Heavy also likes Keeper Sutherland. Okay, maybe I don't know anything. Maybe Keeper is a great musician, but he certainly was a good actor. And his dad, geez, his dad was an excellent actor. Donald Sutherland is, by the way, in my opinion, Donald Sutherland is one of the best character actors of all time, along with who? We could even say Louis Gossett Jr., right? Remember him? But especially my very, very favorite, Mr. Harry Dean Stanton, the best character actor of all time, and also Mr. Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper was an incredible character actor. For anyone who's watched Apocalypse Now, for anyone who's watched Easy Rider, Blue Velvet, a number of shows. He even gave that stupid movie Speed some fun, with the speeding school bus or city bus, whatever. I'm full-blooded Hal Bali. I don't know what that means. Junior saying, I'll play the part about a man that's sad and lonely. All I got to do is act naturally. Buck Owens. Buck Owens. Now, Buck Owens was the one that played along with Roy Clark on Hee Haw. Is that correct? And also the one that John Fogerty sang kindly of. Right? I'm trying to think of the line. Listening to Buck Owens. Do. Yeah, Buck Owens was pretty incredible. He wasn't banjo. Roy would play the banjo. He just played guitar, right? Didn't Buck Owens just play the guitar? My extensive knowledge of Buck Owens only comes from the show Hee Haw, which I watched for several years with my grandfather from the late 70s to the mid-80s. Salute. Let's see. Me too, Farmer Sausage Gravy. Yes. So good. It's like its own whole meal. You can't really say that. You can't say that about like beef or turkey gravy. I love both of those gravies. Look, I'm a gravy dude. Don't give me none of that hollandaise shit. I don't want something so light and creamy for a gravy. I like a dark gravy. I do. I don't like a light gravy. Sausage gravy is about as light as I go. Some people just be throwing that flour gravy on you. It's all white. That's not gravy. Got to have meat juice for gravy. Boss say, hey, Junior. Heavy laughing at something. I don't know who she's laughing at. He killed him with a lawnmower blade. Well, yeah, that's why they call it sling blade. He took an old lawnmower blade and he only killed abusive people. That's what landed him in jail in the first place. He killed his mom's abusive husband. Well, then he found himself in that same situation at the end of the movie with his new little friend. Remember, he had the little boyfriend. I don't mean boyfriend. I mean, he was a boy who was his friend. Whatever that means. Because he wasn't right mentally. Like, mentally, they were the same age. So you got this big, mean guy who just gets out of prison for murdering his stepdad or his real dad. I don't know how that came down. And then you got, he sort of gets a job at this and he's fixing up lawnmowers and sort of thing, He befriends this little kid who's very lonely and has no friends. And they become friends. And it's this genuinely sweet story. Completely innocent, sweet story. Well, then through that, the boy's mom is with an abusive man. And this becomes a trigger for the character to relive his own childhood experiences And at the end ends up, I mean, you basically see him walking in the house with a lawnmower blade in his hand to, you know, yeah. It's pretty dramatic. It's a pretty heavy story, but the acting and it's such a heavy story, but it doesn't feel as heavy as it is, in my opinion, by the end of it. I mean, no one was that upset that he killed an abusive guy. I mean, other than now Sling Blade has to go back to prison, and it's really the only place he was comfortable anyways, where he could get his biscuits and mustard. Oh, God. Poor Sling Blade. Boss is saying bell-bottom jeans with the crochet flowers on the bottom. Oh, yeah, those are cool. Junior, I'll be 73 in October, Shay. Well, you guys are older than me. And that's okay. Because I'd be looking at that as victory, Junior, a Shay. 73, 72, 73. When you guys are in your 70s and you're having, you're able to communicate. But granted, I know the body starts giving out and things like this. And that's frustrating. I know that. I even know at my age through different things. It's not like it used to be in my 20s, my 30s, right? And that it's coming around the corner, not too far from now. So hopefully I can head some of that off. But at the same time, you guys have your minds and you're able to come here and interact with all of us. And we're able to interact with you guys being the, the older ones, whatever that means. Some call it Sling Blade. Thank you, Shay. I guess my point is that I don't think just being old is bad. Like, I think there's probably as much. It doesn't seem like anyone's ever happy. Like, if it's too young of a person trying to tell them, so they're like, what do you know? You're too young. And then an old person, they're like, we're sick of your views. You're too old. Well, you're going to be at one of those two ends of those two spectrums for a lot of points in your life. So maybe you ought to just look at people as people, right? Why be an ageist when it comes to normal conversation and interaction, right? I mean, I think there's something to be gained from having friends that are younger and friends that are older and friends that are your age and friends that are not. And communicating and stuff like that. I mean, I am, as somebody who's in the restaurant business, I really don't have a choice. I'm always the oldest guy in the room, for the most part, except for the owner. And they're always like, why is this old guy working for me? About took his head plumb off. Yeah, that's for sure. Oh, it's got some weight behind it. A lawnmower blade has weight behind it for anyone who's ever sharpened one, and I have. By the way, if you're going to sharpen your lawnmower blade and you're using a gas-powered mower with oil in it, you want to put the mower up on its side with the carburetor on the high side. Wait, on the low side. Whichever way the carburetor won't get oil to leak into it or something like that. There is a way to do it, though. You do it the wrong way, you might be mixing gas and oil together in there somewhere, right? A Time to Kill, Matthew Modine and Sandra Bullock, 96. Yeah, I remember that movie, but I couldn't stand Matthew Modine. Of course, I like Sandra Bullock, and she was super hot in T2, like badass, right? Do I got the right person for that? Terminator 2. I haven't watched Sling Blade in years. I need to watch it again. I think it is a movie worth rewatching. I don't think it's so disturbing that you couldn't rewatch it. I definitely haven't watched it in years, though. I don't really watch movies anymore, to be honest with you. Movies was something I enjoyed doing with other people. To sit in my RV and watch a movie alone, unless it's related to subject matter that maybe I'm investigating or something, I'm just not into it anymore. I have a hard time sitting in one place. And I could go for something special. Sure, I'd love to go to a movie theater. You guys remember those? Big screen, some popcorn, maybe a slushie. Yeah, I dig that with the the sound and everything shaking. Yeah, I dig that experience. So to see the right movie, like I definitely want to go see Disclosure Day, Steven Spielberg's new movie coming out the 26th of June at a proper theater. I really do. Junior says, yes, I do. Boston says 2, Junior. Yes, I do 3 pair. I know Those times are never coming back around, are they? So you still got 3 pair. Okay, good. Well, they can come back around. I mean, stuff always gets hot again. Boston. I mean, the 70s have come back how many times since the 70s? They certainly came back in the 90s with that 70s show. I mean, I think the 70s and 60s will never go away, and not for a while, from American pop culture, because even the 80s has their own little special sort of, blue eyeshadow, shitty music place in history, sweatbands and tube tops. I mean, who doesn't want to put on a tube top? Hold them tits back. Sorry. I mean, what a genius idea. And who designed that? They made $1 million off literally one band of material that goes around your breasts. Who couldn't have thought of that? Throw a couple sweatbands on there, you look like Wonder Woman with something around your breasts. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Not a bad look. Favorite Sling Bling moment, says Shay. That boy lives inside his own head. That's a mighty big place. Boston St. Jr. like garage bands. Yeah, I like garage bands. Absolutely. Keep it raw. Keep it real. Junior saying you should start wearing them. I saw a woman with a pair on not long ago. I think absolutely, Boston. If you have 3 vintage pair of jeans that are bell bottoms with crocheted flowers on the bottom, to not be wearing those is some kind of crime, in my opinion. 1, they're going to be super cute on you. Just going to be. And if you're the same size, why not? And why not make your own fashion? What I'm saying is nowadays you can really just make your own fashion and be like, well, it's fashionable if I say it is, And Boston St. Farmer, I don't know that I've seen that movie. I do recommend it, Sling Blade, actually. I do recommend it. It's heartwarming. It's disturbing, but to me, it was more heartwarming than disturbing, really, to see the friendship that developed. And people tell me the same thing about Shawshank Redemption. I've never watched that movie. Or The Green Mile. I've never watched those movies. I'm afraid I will cry through the whole movie or something. It's just too heavy for me. Yeah. Shay saying gas tank that shit up. Junior, I pulled them back out 3X. Boston saying sadly, I don't have my 750 Triumph. Wow, you drove a 750 Triumph. That's pretty cool, Boston. Oh yeah, heavy for sure. Popcorn cost $10. I mean, it cost $10 in the 80s, I think. Jesus, probably $20 now for the buttered popcorn, but you gotta have it. I mean, you gotta have a little bit of buttered popcorn when you go. It tastes like nuclear material, that butter, but I love it. I do. I love it. I love that liquid butter. I also learned that in Indian at Hindi temple once a year, everyone brings gallons of butter, and then they pour it over themselves and then eat the butter. This is a religious ceremony every year. I watched the ceremony. My boss showed me. It looks very happy. I mean, they have the biggest vat of butter you've ever seen. It's bigger than my RV. This vat of butter was bigger than my RV. Feel like an RV without a railroad car without a lid, and everyone dumps gallons of butter in, and then in a religious ceremony, everyone wears the butter, and then they make dinner with it. Cool. Boston saying, yeah, popcorn. I'm missing my teeth, but, well, when I worked at that marathon station that Mr. Steve dialed into and knew my security procedure, Mr. Steve calls me up like, he didn't really call me, but, yeah, I noticed the combo on your safe, Farmer. You might want to think about changing that up. That's a little obvious. I'm like, fuck, shit, man. Mr. Steve, what are you doing? Oh yeah, Shay, costs $60 to go to the movie theater. That's why you make it a special time. Oh, you could probably still find some of those discount theaters. to me, that would be almost just as fun. It's really about the experience. If it's a movie I really want to see, I want to see it in its fullnessity. Is that a word? I want to feel it. I want it to shake my bones like the bass guitar at a live show. You know, Shay, you know what I'm talking about, Shay. I know you've been to a number and played in a number of live shows. You know how the bass guitar can just sometimes make your insides vibrate without anyone else, like, everyone's kind of just like, wah, wah, wah. Yeah, that's what I like about a good loud movie. It's not offensive. It doesn't hurt the ears. It just, I don't know. I like it. Junior's saying, can't you take the lawnmower blade off? I think they made them out of titanium now, and they're really light. You can get them really sharp. You can just take the lawnmower blade off. What I was only noting, you can absolutely take it off. It's just a nut. But I was only noting that it does matter if you have a carbureted engine on your mower, that whichever way you tilt the mower on the two wheels, you want to make sure that the oil and gas aren't dripping into the carburetor. So I guess the carburetor needs to be on top. So depending on which side your carburetor's on, that will determine which two wheels you flip it up on to then remove the blade. It does matter. Big bangs in the 80s. You got that right, girl. Shoot. Looked like someone took a lawnmower blade to them bangs in the 80s. Cut that shit out like, it was like this. Holy bangs. I went to see Cats on Broadway for $60. I wouldn't have paid 60 cents, but that's just my opinion. I had to go see that shit when I was in junior high at the Miller Auditorium at Western. And yeah, it's always great to get away from the school for a day, but I didn't know what was going on. And so they're just like, meow, 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 meow. And I'm like in, 8th grade going, I need a cigarette, man. Like, I can't deal with this shit. Can we smoke in this auditorium? Anybody got a Marlboro, honey? So I've never been good with like you'd think that naturally, being me, that I would like plays and playwrights and Thornton Wilder and Barbra Streisand but I don't. I like rock and roll. I'm just me. I like what I like. Jerry had those bangs. Oh, yeah, we all had the bangs in the 80s, for sure. Yeah, or that Soup Bowl cut. By the way, I'm getting a haircut. Yeah, because if I'm going to be dealing with ticks, at least I don't go like this all. Wouldn't that be annoying? Like dudes that go like this. Like, oh, my hair. Stupid. I'm too dudeish to be feminine. Leg warmers in July. Only for the diabetic, maybe. The shorts and TikTok have rewired the human brain to have the attention span of a pissant. People can't sit through a movie anymore. I don't watch TikTok. And I don't watch shorts. I make shorts. I have fun with my own shorts. But I do not watch shorts. Because I agree. I don't watch TikTok and I don't watch shorts. Most of the time, unless from a friend like Cryptex, he puts up one of the dog or something. But generally, no, I cannot stand Hiawatha, actually. My sister from another mister. I cannot stand just flicking through shit because it's there. I would watch my mom do like her interaction like with information online and some older people. And it's almost like they fall into this trap where they're just like scrolling through the Facebook feed to the next thing, always to the next thing. What's next? What's next? What's next? I just can't do that. I hate it. I hate it. Yeah, I can get through about 3 shorts and I go, what are you doing? Stop it. I like to be in control of what I'm looking at. Like I want to look at something because I want to look at it or research it or read about it, not because some mindless feed is pumping it into my brain because it's what it thinks I want. I will tell you what I want. You will not tell me what I like. By you, I mean feeds and algorithms and so forth, not you guys. I'm more likely to listen to the chatters and our friends here in the community about an experience or a band than I am about some suggestion from some algorithm. Let me put it that way. Farmer, the IMAX is in Indy. I don't have to be at IMAX. That can be a bit overwhelming. Christ's sakes, I went to that IMAX at Cedar Point. Look, I was on LSD. I thought the whole world was ending. Oh my God, we were going through the Grand Canyon, and whew, I was my tummy was upset after that one. Yeah, pissant. I like that word, pissant. It's good for a lot of things. Aquanet. You can't get it anymore. You know how I know that, Heavy? I tried to buy it. You know why? Not because it holds my hair right. Because there is no more effective bee or spider stopper and or killer than Aquanet. When you have something flying around in the air, to spray plastic on its wings will bring it down immediately. Not even bee killer does that. Aquanet was the perfect bee suppressor. It would just freeze right up. It's like spraying plastic on. And they don't make it anymore because you might remember this word from the 80s, the chlorofluorocarbons. They did away with all aerosols due to the fluorocarbons. And now we got bees and ticks. Motherfucker. And by the way, one of the best defenses against head lice at schools for public kids, Aquanet. Spray that shit on your kid's head, they can't get through. Jerry saying slouch socks. Must have been I must have missed them. I don't even know what a slouch sock is. Kevin Bacon new movie supposed to be great. I didn't even know he was still alive. He's still making movies, Kevin Bacon? 6 Degrees of Kalamazoo. It's going to be a show of mine. Bangs, oops, just seen that. We knew what you meant. We knew what you meant, Heavy. Over here at the Derek Farmer Network, we interpret. When you say bags, we know you meant bangs. Bell bottoms and tube tops. Junior just reminiscing on the old days. Sorry, slouch socks and Rod Stewart, Maggie May. Not my favorite Rod Stewart song. But I was always kind of more of a 30 Days in the Hole kind of guy. I was, really. Great song, by the way. Whatever that band was, Rod Stewart used to be the front man for it. What was that band? Come on, Shay, help me out here. 30 Days in the Hole. That was a great song. That was a jam. Laugh out loud. I thought you just left the N out. Oh, yeah. Jerry saying, I love live Rod Stewart, Boston. I never saw him live. Love. Yeah, man, I'm not sure if he's still making music. I mean, my goodness, he's got to be 103. And he was old when I was a kid. But he had his own way about him, for especially being a solo artist, for all those years. They don't really make those superstars anymore. We just don't have superstars like that where people would make an album and then go out and support that album playing live. It was like sort of a whole thing that's really over at this point. And that's too bad, by the way, in my opinion. Because the music didn't have to be dated. The music could always be updated, right? But the idea of no longer going out and seeing other people at a live show, I mean, it's become so passé, so boring to people, I guess. So we could just watch any concert we want online. But the point is that you're there, you're sweating, you're shaking your ass in real time. That's the fun. To see the other people, you be there with them. You cannot do that by yourself watching a concert on YouTube. Sorry. Get out of your damn house. We got one drive-in theater left in Indy. Then there's the Triple X one up in Claremont. Yeah, I've been there a few times. Just kidding. Oh, no, but I've been to the Dirty Bookstore a million times. I mean, My buddy used to work, he's dead now. Used to work in the Kalamazoo Dirty Bookstore. It was the one that had signs on the outside. When I was a little kid, it said movies 5 cents or 25-cent movies. And it would have all these flashing lights. And I would be like, Mom, you always complain about the price of movie tickets. This is only $0.25. Take me in to see these. And she would just look at me like, you just don't understand yet what that means. You know, I didn't know it was dirty movies, obviously. It didn't say that. It just said movies, 25 cents at the Kalamazoo bookstore. But yeah, my buddy Bobby got he's the one that went to it last. He got a job at the Dirty Bookstore. And I spent a few good many hours down there sitting at the counter smoking cigarettes when you could still smoke inside of a business. And just the excuses people would come up for the shit they were buying was just, when Steve talks about entertainment from a Waffle House, you really should try like a porno house one night. It can be disturbing, but generally speaking, people are so embarrassed to even be in there that you can just really put them off real quick. You know, I won't go into too many specifics, but I said some weird shit to people just to make them laugh. Like, not to be weird. Anytime you can work in the word ass plugs out loud at a business and not be kicked out, it's a good time. Happy saying, hi, Waffle. We had one most of my life, but they shut it down. So bummed. What's that, Dirty Bookstore? Oh, drive-in theater. No, yeah, they're not all dirty. In fact, they did away with that in Kalamazoo also. It was right downtown. It was like right on the main drag. And finally, they're like, you guys got to move somewhere else. You know, we're trying to redevelop the neighborhood, and the porno shop isn't really helping with that vibe. You know, and it wasn't. It wasn't. It wasn't. My buddy didn't mop the floors though. They had a special guy for that. He was always at the bar next door getting away. He was just like the local drunk, you know. They paid him to mop the booths. Yeah. Yeah, not pretty. I've had some weird times in my life. Hi, Watha, says Abby. Oh, she knew that. I prefer the Gary Rickrath. I don't know who that is. I like a Gibson myself. Hi, Watha, Triple X Drive-In. Oh, yeah, I guess they used to combine the two, you know, Triple X Drive-In. And that's great because, you know, you can load more people up in the car, you know, like a traditional drive-in. Oh, my God. I didn't even, I never knew they had that. Yeah. Again, that's such a data. Think about what the internet has done to that scene. And granted, kind of a seedy scene. Okay, you're probably inviting types that may have problems, let's say, controlling themselves or something. But you had to go somewhere for it. Like, you had to go to a specific place. Now you just have to turn on your computer and you're in way worse territory with the crazy shit you can see on there. No fun at all. I'm talking back in the days when you could still streak through a bowling alley and not be arrested for being a what they would call now a sexual predator, right? It was just past 9 o'clock at the bowling alley, and you decided to take your clothes off because you had a few shots and run naked through there. I'm not saying I ever did that, but people did it. It was a thing. They were called streakers. And then again, streakers may be a nice name for people. They always called these creeps that look in windows, peeping Toms. Not really fair to the guy named Tom. And when I think about a Tony Klein type peeping through the window and then using a stick to lift the skirt of a victim, well, that has a whole different connotation to me. Peeping Tom is not a strong enough word. That's assault. And looking at somebody through their window should be considered such, by the way, against their knowledge. Spying on someone, hoping to see them naked or doing something like that, that's not a peeping Tom. You're a predator. Get help. My opinion. Sometimes people like to put too light of a, emphasis on some of this stuff. And some things are light, but not everything's light. Some people don't got the right thing in mind, like a TK. No offense, I shouldn't have said his name out loud because he hasn't been arrested for anything, so it's not fair, But I got my ideas. Jar, remember making tops out of men's bandanas? What? No, I don't remember you girls doing that. I quit movies when I found out about Hollyweird, said Shay. That doesn't mean they're all like that, Shay. I'm sure that Tom Cruise is normal. I'm sure he wouldn't be in a weird religion or anything started by some guy who used to go to esoteric sex blood rituals in the desert with Aleister Crowley named Ron Hubbard, rather. Right? Shay, it's so depressing. All the people I love so much are all freak shows. No. I mean, I love the freaks. Wait, Heavy, I don't want to give freaks a bad name. A lot of times, freaks are just the people that get left out of the mainstream. They have nowhere to do but gather. Doesn't mean they're bad people. I mean, I was part of the freaks, I think. I didn't have my hair cut all weird or nothing. I would have, maybe. I didn't mind. A lot of my friends had colored hair and who knows what. Nose rings and whatever personal statements people want to make. I mean, fashion's different for everybody. Boston and belts. Yeah, no one wears a good belt anymore. Ashay saying, oh, Boston, I used to sell the cutest bandana tops in my shop. I made them with 5 $1 bandanas and sold them for $45. Well, yeah, that's a good racket you got going on there, Shay. But I don't remember bandana tops. Well, this must have been pre-1980, because pre-1980, I was just like 8 years old or younger. You don't remember stuff like that. Like, I remember the Incredible Hulk, Dukes of Hazzard, but I do not remember bandana tops. I remember wearing a bandana on my own pants, and not as a top, just a bandana as a cool thing in the 7th grade. On my parachute pants, actually, if you remember parachute pants. Heavy saying, damn. And Boston saying, heavy. Yeah, I heard about it. How's it possible to drive-in theater? How is that possible at a drive-in theater? I mean, some drive-ins have fences around them, or they do it late at night. Or the way the screens are facing, you can face it like maybe there's like a cornfield in the back, and you got to pull around. I mean, they find a way. They find a way. And you can just damn sure be sure that all the neighborhood people will find a way to sneak in and watch it for free. Happy saying Boston is so creepy. Well, it's like a bunch of cars showed up at an orgy almost, right? And it's kind of weird. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, everyone gets the concept of a dirty movie theater. It's dark. It's closed. It's just you and the other adults in there. But then cars full of people? That is weird. We might have to research that. Shay, you're so cool. I stopped getting on Facebook 5 years ago. Tired of seeing people I know use filters. Now my kids tell me I should get on there to keep up with family. No. I don't enjoy it at all. I don't like Facebook book. I used to like it okay when I like could make my own sort of feed and algorithm according to the things I like. Not shit just shows up in there I don't want. I always seem to be saying the wrong thing, and the wrong people seem to be hearing it. Forget Facebook. I don't like it. I don't. Rod Stewart in the 80s, still singing, of course, not as much. Oh, he's in his 80s. Oh, wow. He's still singing. Good. Excellent. I hope he is. His looks are not what I liked about him, but he still looks good for 80. Yeah, why not? Can he still sing? That's the question. If he can still sing, why quit? This is someone gets older doesn't mean they know how to. That doesn't mean they stop rocking. Okay, I don't believe that. I go see bands all the time that I was watching 30 years ago that are doing just as great as they ever were. Jari Farmer, tonight, pull up. Heavy saying, well, you want to hear a story about adult bookstores? I was born in Iowa because my folks decided to run an adult bookstore there, and thus I was born. Wow, Heavy. Your parents ran an adult bookstore. Man, back in the old days when adult bookstores were really, shelves were packed, there was no internet. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Junior. Thanks for stopping in. Really nice to see you the last couple shows. Really, really good. I hope you're doing great, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Everyone say bye to Junior Johnson. He's going to be chucking it in for the night. It's getting pretty late. Gary was my best friend for 45 years. Check him out. You'd recognize him. Gary. Wonder who you're referring to, Shay. Gary who? All right. I'll have to think about that one. Heavy saying goodnight, Junior. Have a good one. And boss say, Rod Stewart, I can't talk about it. Must be a song. Jerry saying night, Junior. And boss saying he was like 140 years old and still rocking it. And Shay saying goodnight to Junior. And boss is saying goodnight to Junior. Wow, Junior, getting a lot of love here tonight. My squatter had cameras around my house and streamlined them on his Twitch. What a piece of shit. Ugh. Streamline the ass beating of that guy on his Twitch. He would be twitching permanently if I got a hold of him. Heavy saying, Farmer, I'm not the most normal either. I tell you guys everything. I ain't got nothing to hide. I was just a kid when I'd go down there. Like I said, the only reason I went is because my buddy worked there, and he's like, you got to come down here and check these people out, man. You talk about people watching. That was crazy. But then we would just go, either over to the Sugar Bowl bar, have a couple drinks. It wasn't really about the porno. That was never exciting to me, to be honest with you. I always thought it was funnier than anything else. Jerry saying you see it from the highway late night. Triple X movies. Yeah. Or you used to see those signs all the time on the highway for truckers and stuff to stop at them places. Shay following up with Rick Rath, Farmer. Rich Rath. Well, you guys, I think I have said it all tonight. I had no idea I'd be on for steaming 2.5 hours. Really want to say thank you to Wife Lilith, to Steve from True Crime Web, to Unindicted Co-Conspirator for stopping in, to Hiawatha, my sister from another mister, for Josh the Posh stopping in and saying hi. Shay, I'm glad you got to join us for a live tonight, pretty much the whole thing. That was great. Joe Dirt didn't say hi to you earlier. Want to say hi now. Oh, we found Mork's spacecraft. Yeah, exactly, the flying egg. I wish Joe was still here. I would have acknowledged that. It is kind of weird that now it's coming out that some of these resemble giant white eggs, which indeed what Mork's spacecraft and Jonathan Winter's spacecraft was made out of. Good night to Sensi. Probably got a little late for her over there across the pond. And Cryptex for stopping in, you guys. Hey, look, I'm just glad to be able to come on and do this. To Big Fish, to, of course, Hebby, a.k.a. Heather Brown. Thank you for stopping in and again and even staying around and chat. And just bullshitting with people for a while. I think that's what it's all about, you guys, honestly. I could just go on with a diatribe every time and not read the comments and just go on with an agenda, but I don't think it would be nearly as much fun. I really don't. Good night to Junior Johnson, if I didn't say that. Good to see you, Junior. Jari, of course. Good to see Jari. Most of you are already mods. Heather, Heavy, if you want to be a mod, you can be a mod. Let me know. I got no problem with that. I like a good mod around because we never know when we're going to kind of get a bigger crowd, or I do an interview with, say, a Skip Jansen or a Mr. Steve, or someone that garners a bigger audience, and we may need to have a few mods around. And I trust all you guys. Shay, I'm glad you made this one too. I really am. Egg shape. That's what Lonnie Zamora saw. You're right. Yes, it was. It also had a symbol on it, but not the one that was released to the public. In fact, it only came out over the last couple of years. They kept the symbol hidden for what Lonnie Zamora actually saw so that people reporting it in the future, if they reported it was the symbol that was reported, they knew they were lying. Yeah, look up that story. But it has something to do with Umo. Heavy saying, Suri would love to. Oh, good. Okay, cool. I'll take care of that. I think I have to do it from YouTube. I can't do it from StreamYard, so. Oh, we knew you meant shape, yeah. Boston saying love you, Heavy. Heavy saying Boston, love you too, sweetie. And I think it's just a perfect time to cut it and say, you guys, above all else, do come back. Let's all take care of ourselves and each other and sort of get us through this this drift that we find ourselves in from time to time of sentimentality, of losses of the past. But know that going forward, there are just great people out there that we can still continue to be around and talk to and communicate with. It's good enough for me to be happy. And with that being said, you guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and always keep your eyes on the skies. We'll see you guys next time. Love you all.